I don't know if any of you saw yesterday when Professor Brian Cox went on a rant against Brexit and Conservatives. We are about to see the installation of a scoundrel as Prime Minister by a small cabal of aging, well, can't say this word because YouTube doesn't like it, golf club boards who will crash us out of the EU. Basically, a lot of rant about the fact that leaving the EU is a bad idea and Boris Johnson is the devil and Tories are even worse than the devil. Now, I have two issues with these tweets. Firstly, the attack on age. Both the Tory party and Labour have the same average age when it comes to membership, both in 50s. Secondly, the golf club thing. I've been in the Tory party for 10 years and I've only met two people who play golf. One of them was a semi-professional golf player and the other one has now left the Tories and joined the Lib Dems. So what does that tell you? The other problem I have is his hysteria over Brexit. Now, a lot of people replied to Cox's tweet, but he started to block them all. George said, I'm 24, gay, I'm pro-immigration, I work in higher education, I live in a large, diverse city, I was the first in my immediate family to go to uni, oh, and I don't play golf. So less of the lazy stereotypes, please, Professor. Speaking of old male golf players, do you remember Emily from Question Time?
I've been a member of the Conservative Party since I was 16. I'm now 19. I've canvassed for them, but the party has let us down, and I will be voting for the Brexit Party during the European elections. And that seems to me a democratic way of having a second referendum, which would be undemocratic.
She also replied to Brian Cox and got blocked. I spoke to her earlier today, and this was her response.
Yesterday, Brian Cox did a number of tweets about Brexit. I replied suggesting that the fact he was a scientist does not make him any better than the 17.4 million people who voted to leave the EU in 2016. A science degree is not superior to democracy. As a result of my tweet, I got blocked. I don't think people should voice their opinion if they're just going to block anyone who disagrees with them, even if it's done politely. Instead, he should engage in discussion and debate, as that would be a much more, in my opinion, mature response.
Unfortunately, this is normal when it comes to intellectuals. People have always wondered why a lot of intellectuals move towards the left and socialism. This issue has been addressed in the past by a number of big figures on the right. Firstly, Hayek.
They want to make it intelligible, translucent to them. They think nothing can be good unless it's demonstrated to you that in the particular case it achieves a good object. And that, of course, is impossible.
Hayek is right. One problem is that intellectuals tend to dislike things that can't promise a guaranteed outcome. Now, socialism and redistribution of wealth does that. Intellectuals can see exactly what happens and how you take money from one and give it to another. Obviously, they never understand or accept the consequences, which is ironic, but that's why they don't get capitalism and market economies. Free markets don't give you a guaranteed outcome. It's simply a free platform for people to voluntarily exchange goods and services between each other. Intellectuals like everything to be black and white to understand it. The other problem with intellectuals is that they like to experiment things, but avoid talking about their failed attempts.
And it looks to me like one of the things that really happened when the communist doctrines were brought into play, and it also, by the way, we did the multinational experiment, right? It doesn't matter where you put these policies into play, the same bloody outcome occurred. Didn't matter whether it was Russia or China or Cambodia or Vietnam or to pick a random African country or Cuba or Venezuela for that matter. It was an unmitigated catastrophe. And so to me, that's experiment plus replication. Enough. Enough.
So they'll keep trying their socialist experiments in every country until it works. Spoiler alert, it will never work. And finally, their arrogance.
So the intellectual temptation is to say, look, we already know everything.
That's right.
If only we also had
the power.
all the power,
yes,
everything would be just fine.
Yes.
And what's wrong with that view? Why isn't that a sensible view?
One, they don't know everything. They don't know 1/10 of everything. In fact, I argue that they probably don't know 1% of the consequential knowledge in a society.
That's the main issue. The we know everything so give us power mentality is dangerous. They don't like ordinary people having control over their own lives because they think people are stupid. But as Churchill said, we will never give up, never surrender. If you want to help the Ordinary People Army and our campaigns, check out the Cabinet Club. The link is below in the description. And don't forget to share this video, subscribe and click on the notification bell next to it. And I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.